Hey guys, Detective Squirrel here again, coming to you with my third video on the Cards of Crime series, a series where we do some Pokemon pack openings and talk about the famous serial killers throughout history. So, today we're going to be opening some McDonald's 25th anniversary Pokemon packs. I hope you guys like that. And talking about Edmund Kemper, sometimes referred to as the co-ed killer. Edmund Kemper III was born in Burbank, California on December 18th, 1948, to Clarnell Kemper and Edmund Kemper II. So not a ton is known about his really early life, but things did get gruesome pretty early on. This guy was really messed up, as you guys will soon hear about. Around the age of 9, we start to find out about his dark fantasies, which started with his sister's dolls, and he would do things like remove their heads and hands. In an interview, he stated some of his favorite games to play as a kid were the gas chamber and electric chair, which are exactly what they sound like. He would have his sister tie him up in a chair, flip a switch, and he would pretend to, fall over and twitch like he was dying of electrocution. Though he was clearly very messed up, he actually did have a good relationship with his father, and the split of his parents when he was 9 or 10, I believe, definitely did not help his mental state. To make things worse, his mom was really awful to him. Once his parents split, he lived with his mom in Montana, and she was just absolutely not good to him. She was almost certainly mentally ill as well, and also an alcoholic, which never makes things good. She would frequently humiliate and abuse him, and she would make him sleep in a locked basement. She said she refused to show him affection because he might turn out gay because of that, and mocked him for being like his father, telling him that no woman would ever love him. Just the ideal mother we have here. Things with him would get really bad around the age of 10, where he supposedly buried a pet cat alive, and after he was sure it was dead, he dug it up, decapitated it, and mounted its head on a spike, which again, you'll come to find out soon, the decapitation thing and often mounting is sort of his MO. And then at the age of 13, he killed another family cat, this time supposedly because it started to favor his sister over him. He then cut the cat up and kept pieces of it in his closet, which is indicative again of his further MO. Almost unsurprisingly, at the age of 14, he ran away to live with his father, where he found out his father was remarried and had a stepson. He lived there for just a little bit. I'm not quite sure why he left, but his father sent him to live with his paternal grandparents in North Fork, California. He apparently hated it there and has called his grandfather senile, and his grandmother was also a terrible guardian by his accounts. So here he comes now at the ripe age of 15, sitting at the kitchen table where he gets in an argument with his grandmother. He storms off, grabbed his hunting rifle, which his grandfather got for him, came back and shot his grandmother in the head, and then twice more in the back. His grandfather returned home shortly after from a grocery shopping trip, and he went outside and shot him in the driveway. Being only 15, he didn't really know what to do, so he called his mother, who told him to contact the police, where he was later taken into custody. After his arrest, he said that he wanted to see what it felt like to kill his grandma, under his own account. And he also testified that he killed his grandpa so he didn't have to find out his wife was dead. I guess maybe it seems like he could show a little bit of empathy, if you want to say that. He was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic and sent to a maximum security facility that houses mentally ill convicts. This diagnosis was actually later challenged by some of his more recent psychiatrists, but I think either way, it's pretty clear that he was a very troubled individual, to say the least. While he was at the mental institution, he actually appeared to be a model patient with significant praise from all of his psychiatrists. While he was there, he even had a few IQ tests conducted, and his IQ was measured at 145, which is very impressive for anyone, but very impressive for his age as well. On his 21st birthday, he was released on parole and sent under the care of his mother. After being out for a couple of years, he was actually deemed rehabilitated by a psychiatrist, and his juvenile record was expunged. He got a couple menial jobs and went to community college as required with parole, but his relationship with his mother was still very toxic, and they often got into serious arguments, as overheard by their neighbors. He eventually saved enough to move out, but he still had financial troubles along the way, often moving back in and back out again with his mother, which again was just a bad relationship all around. In March of 1973, he actually became engaged. That was broken up shortly after, and after his second arrest, which we'll talk about later, she asked that her name be kept anonymous. So that same year in 1973, he got in an accident on his motorcycle where his arm was really badly injured and received about $15,000 at the time, which is about $90,000 equivalent today. Around this time, he just bought a new car, and driving his newly bought car, he noticed a plethora of hitchhikers around the area. They were young female students. He then began storing plastic bags, knives, blankets, and handcuffs in his car. What is kind of surprising is that he actually, by his own account, picked up about 150 hitchhikers and peacefully dropped them off at their destination. It wasn't until about this 150 mark, he claims, that he started feeling homicidal and sexual urges. And yeah, that's why we're doing this video, because he definitely acted on those. I'm not going to describe all of the murders, but his MO was very similar for all of them, except his mother and mother's best friend. What he would do is he would pick up female students who were hitchhiking in the area and take them to isolated areas where he would either shoot, stab, or strangle them. And with nearly all of the bodies, he would take them home, decapitate them, perform sexual acts with their dead bodies and heads, and then dismember the rest of them afterwards. This murder spree included 5 college students and 1 15-year-old high school student, and then finally his mother and his mother's best friend. His mother's murder occurred on the night of April 20th, 1973, where he waited till his mother fell asleep and then returned and bludgeoned her with a hammer and slit her throat with a knife. Pursuant to his MO, he decapitated her and performed sexual acts on her dead body and head. After that, he invited his mother's best friend over to the house to have dinner and watch a movie. When she arrived, he strangled her to create a cover story that the two had gone on vacation, and he hid their bodies in a closet and cleaned all outward signs of the murder. He ended up going on the run right after that, and thinking he would soon be on an all-out manhunt, he brought lots of guns and ammunition with him. But after not hearing anywhere of the murders on the news or radio, he actually decided to turn himself in. He called the local police station and told them what happened. They actually didn't believe him the first time, so he called back a few hours later and requested to speak to an officer he knew personally, explaining what he had done. He later was taken into custody, and he also confessed to the murder of the 6 female students. In May of 1973, he was put on trial for 8 counts of first-degree murder, and this time he was deemed sane and convicted on all counts. He actually requested the death penalty, maybe finally getting to live out his favorite game of the electric chair. But at this time, California actually had a hiatus on the death penalty, and so he was sentenced to several life sentences. When asked why he turned himself in, he said, and I'm quoting exactly, that the original purpose was gone. It wasn't serving any physical or real emotional purpose. It was just a pure waste of time. Emotionally, I couldn't handle it much longer. Toward the end there, I started feeling the folly of the whole damn thing, and at the point of near exhaustion, near collapse, I just said to hell with it and called it off. So, he's been serving life in prison ever since, and apparently he's currently a model prisoner. He had a stroke in 2015 and was declared medically disabled, but it wasn't until 2016 that he had his first violation, and it was just for failing to provide a urine sample. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the story of Edmund Kemper, the co-ed killer, and if you enjoyed the video for either the pack opening or the story of Edmund, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.